Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say three, two, one, go, but I messed that up pretty badly.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Massive one this week. One we all know and love, American Beauty, The Grateful Dead, 1970. Absolute classic. Now available in our shop, Whose Records, trademark. Quick note on this. I actually got to listen to it on vinyl, this copy, yesterday, and was really worried because it had a little scratch on side two on the back. On it looked like one of the tracks, but luckily it's just static, heavy, like heavy-ish static, no skipping or anything like really jarring, so it plays through pretty well. So I think this G plus is pretty fair. Either way, I go to this. So many awesome stories from the band at this time, and obviously, Jack, Seamus, and myself know the band quite well versed in Dead. And Dan,
Yeah, get
judging by
fucked,
your
Dan.
banner,
Yeah, no. I'll admit, I'm a studio album fan. As much as I love the live albums,
Never mind. Inky's
I'm just-
everything Inky said holds true.
yeah, he's correct. He's correct. He's correct.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know the Titans, but I've listened to mostly the studio albums. Like I'm a big fan of
But do
Shakedown
you
Street.
remember the
that's pretty
praise?
cool though. I respect it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna say that I'm imagine like you're pretty familiar with them as well. So I think it's gonna be a pretty good conversation, and I'm glad we picked this one for this week. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
Seamus has widened my knowledge, so don't worry. I know some things.
good to hear.
Nice.
So I think we said we'll give it a Seamus. Same thing as last week. MVPs, favorite songs, least favorite songs, hot takes, cold takes, whatever. Anything you got?
So different angle for probably all of us in American Beauty. I mean, Dan was pretty well versed with what was last week? Music from Big Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Band.
So I think we're all pretty versed in this one. There are a lot of good songs. There are a lot of songs on this one that they play live and that they crush live, like Sugar Magnolia, Truckin'. I mean, to pick a favorite song is hard. I mean, in terms of like the popular ones that they play live, it's tough to pick for me between Sugar Magnolia and Truckin'. Truckin's so much fun. Uh, Sugar Magnolia's got that great solo in the end. Least favorite song, I feel like some people might say uh, Friend of the Devil uh, or Ripple. Those are like the two radio songs, the big studio songs. I mean, I refamiliarized myself with everything on the album today. I wasn't like super impressed with the Addicts of My Life. I'm not a big lyrics guy. I wouldn't be surprised just like listening to it if I just was missing the lyrics and was not listening to them. It sounds like one of those songs that have super profound lyrics and like some kind of folky story to it that was just over my head. Uh, I'd
Same.
probably
Yep.
say that as my least favorite. Uh, MVP, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, call it a hot take if you want, because I know everybody is kind of sick of Ripple. But we obviously named one of our
Nice,
dogs
nice.
after Ripple.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see
So
love that.
that's gonna be MVP for me. And
Yeah, that's good.
if it's a song that you're sick of, 100% understand. It's not really like one of those ones like Sugar Magnolia that they just were trucking that they turn into like this amazing live fun jam. It's like the cliche encore, but yeah, that's gonna be my MVP, obviously.
Sweet, awesome takes. I can
So
name it.
so MVP.
Go ahead.
Sorry, could you run me through them again? MVP was, or which were the three?
I'll call Sugar Magnolia my favorite because
Mhm.
I know we're talking about the studio album studio version here. Um but I like that song studio and live. Least favorite said Addicts of My Life.
Mhm.
Don't hate it, just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
MVP is almost like another way of saying my favorite, but obviously for like its own reason would be Ripple.
Got it.
Can't say I had any hot takes unless you think Ripple's a hot take, but I think given the circumstances, justified.
Ripple's got a special place in my heart, so I take
The
Yeah,
circumstances.
I don't
Yep.
think anyone can be mad at you for that.
yeah.
I've heard the take before, so that's why I preface this.
He was ready for it though. He was ready for the criticism. He didn't get
I
it
would have
though.
taken it.
All right, Inky.
Yeah, I can go. MVP, easy one for me. And I think, similar to Seamus, a little bit more, not quite as personal, not even close actually, but more personal, just because I think the obvious one is the Garcia Hunter songwriting combo. But I think the like a warranted shout out is Pigpen on Operator. I just
Yeah.
thought it was
Yeah.
great to hear his voice.
Glad someone said it.
Yeah, such a huge part of the band in the early days, and I definitely don't appreciate it as much with the majority of the stuff I listen to being between like 72 to 78-ish. So yeah, that's my MVP. Favorite song. Really challenging for me as well. I think Box of Rain and Ripple are are way up there in contention for me, but I'm gonna give mine to Broke Down as
Nice.
of 4:50 p.m. March 12th, 2023.
Might change tomorrow.
Yeah, who knows? I think on a lot of days though, it is a top three Dead song for me. I mean, just sentimental, emotional,
That's a good way of putting
soulful.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings a man to tears. So, um, yeah, pretty relatively easy pick for me. But again, Box of Rain and what was the other one I said? And Ripple. I actually do like Ripple a lot, even though it is kind of like Seamus said, the one of the radio hits. And I actually had the same least favorite song as Seamus as well, Addicts of My Life. And it's been a long time since I've been forced to go to church with my family, but it just kind of reminded me of that. Not fun.
That's
The
that's
organist
got to
up
be
there.
an awful song.
Yeah. It felt so long. It's the third longest song on the album, and dude, it felt like it went on forever. I don't know what was going on, but
Sometimes you need a
Is
short
that
song
why
like
it reminds you
Operator.
of church? Yeah.
yeah, it's all the same, really. That and kind of just the whole maybe I zoned out a bit in the song, but the whole vibe of it, the instruments. I didn't pay attention to the lyrics as all as you can tell, but that would be that's an easy pick for me, the least favorite.
Nice.
Got
Dan, you
one.
can go if you'd like.
All right, yeah. I'll go next. So I guess to start for MVP, my favorite album is the one right before this one, Working Man's Dead, which is entirely done by like Garcia. I'm pretty sure he wrote pretty much all those songs with Hunter, Garcia Hunter combo. But on this album, I'll give my MVP to Bob Weir because Seamus mentioned his favorite live songs, Sugar Magnolia and Trucking, which happen to be like two of my most played songs on this album for sure, and both written by Bob Weir, who is a fantastic musician as well and should not be forgotten. So I'll give my MVP to those two songs and him as a songwriter. Favorite song going back, I think it might have to be Friend of the Devil right now. That might be the hot take, but I really like that song. Garcia written, and it might end up being unanimous, but my least favorite song is probably Addicts of My Life going through the album.
I'm kind of glad we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, didn't I just all the other songs are so much more listenable.
Thus
That
far,
was
at
the one
least.
where I was like, oh, that's when I
Yeah.
checked like runtime of the album. I was like, oh, how long have I been listening? Damn, I
First,
think
the
I
first
gotta
time
go,
I took a look.
actually.
Yeah, get going.
That's so funny.
Oh shit, I got something to do. And then I see the last song struck, and I'm like, oh, I can wait. I can
Yeah.
wait.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that this
Nice.
is not in order.
Yeah,
Sure
I
wasn't
got the
in
order
there.
up on my computer. If you want to pull up Spotify, it'll have it in order.
I didn't
Yeah,
know if
that's
it
what I
would,
was looking at.
get a
Um,
little wonky switching windows, but
oh yeah. Either way. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep this in as like just a lens of the studio songs because it's easy to think of it like at the live versions because they're so different. Um, but also I can't pick. I have too many MVPs. They're not my favorite songs, but like MVPs for me. I have 3 or 2. So Friend of the Devil. First of all, this is like I feel like the most accessible album for people to join into the Dead. Like this is such an easy way to get in because you have
Yep.
these radio songs, and it's like
Agreed. Good
I
call.
think that in itself is like an amazing factor of this album. You can like it's the first album I listened to. I remember listening to this mowing my lawn like in high school or something. Just like this album rocks. Like I was first getting into it, and then, like I think that's a special thing that this album brings to the table for the Dead. It's just so accessible. Um, and you know, especially compared to like Oxymoxo and stuff, like that's just ridiculous. And like this is something that could sell, and that's you know got people into them. They can keep making amazing stuff. Um, so then you know, I think some other MVPs. The album itself is amazing. I think that's an MVP about it. It's just like it's so cool. Um, and then I love Phil Lesh on Box of Rain, man. Let Phil sing, you know.
Let
That
Phil
is just
sing.
he never gets to sing because his voice is objectively bad. And but he sounds great on Box of Rain. And I think that's just so awesome that you never get to hear Phil sing. And I love Phil. If I was at a concert, I would be in the Phil zone back in the day for sure. Um, big Phil fan, so I'm happy. I'm happy he got that. Other MVP would be Ripple. It's not my favorite song on the album, but we sang it at like my uncle's memorial because he was like a huge Deadhead, and he loved it, and we all sang together. And I was, you know, it's a special memory with that song. And then it's like crossover between favorite song and MVP is Friend of the Devil. I remember the first time I heard this, I was in the Acme parking lot. It was on the radio, MGK. I was in my dad's car with him. And I remember being like, you know, 8 years old or something and hearing that song. I'm like, oh, Grateful Dead. There's all these albums in our house that say Grateful Dead. Like, this is what they are. I'm like, okay, cool. So then I always loved this song as a kid. And it's still like, it's one of the songs you just don't skip. I just love that song. So yeah, you know, it's just, you hear it's short, you know, it's just a great song through and throughout. It's beautiful. And there's a reason it's so popular. But I think favorite song, it's tough. It's tied between Friend of the Devil and Candyman. Candyman is so beautiful.
Nice.
Just like the harmony between Garcia and Weir. And if you've seen like the documentary on Amazon Prime, they have like that whole scene dedicated to them trying to get the harmony perfect for the studio recording of like
exactly.
that exact scene. It's a really like, you know, memorable scene, and just like getting that inflection at the end of Candyman, singing the lyrics together. I'm like, that is so cool. And I think
Is
of
that the one
whenever
where they were grilling Bobby, like
Yeah,
for not
yeah.
hitting it?
He's like, yeah. Jerry's like, you're not hitting it, man. You got to go a little higher.
Yeah.
Not quite my
and-
tempo.
Exactly, and it's just like I just
I have to
loved
watch
that.
that.
Yeah, highly recommend. I've seen it like 3 times. It's great. It's like a 6-part series. But yeah, it just reminds me of that whenever I hear it, and that's just so cool. Just getting like that preview into their process. So yeah, those two are tied for me for sure. And then least favorite, I'm gonna break the you know what everyone has said. I'm gonna go with Sugar Magnolia. Hot take,
Ooh.
but I know it's such a hot take. I know. For me, it's just it's a little too like cliche hippie for me. Like the lyrics in it, sometimes they just kind of like, I don't know. Because I've never allowed. It's the only song that like sometimes annoys me when I listen to the lyrics, and I know that like that's a total different opinion from other people had, and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just not a huge fan of that song. That's one that I'll skip. But yeah, Addicts of My Life is. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is that take part of the reason why you preface this by saying you're trying to separate live from studio, or do you feel that way about the
Yeah,
live?
because you know, I mean, it's also not my favorite live song, but like you guys said, like Dan said, the jam at the end is pretty sick, and it's the same with Truckin'. Truckin' also kind of annoys me sometimes. Like if you listen to Pacific Northwest Truckin', I don't want to get to live shows, but if you listen to the 74 Pacific Northwest in Oregon, where they go on that insane Truckin' jam, and it's like almost a little too much. Remember,
Is that the 40-minute one?
that's the 40-minute Dark Star, but it's the same album. Same show, but it's a long trucking, but they just go crazy on it. I'll send it after. I remember listening to. I didn't we're being recorded.
No, I don't think we can. Sorry, man.
Well, you know, it's
That's just out
anyways. Yeah.
It's not an NPR podcast. I
Just
think
say
we're
you were
fine.
kidding.
It's true.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Officer, I was just kidding.
I was just kidding. You don't get it. Yeah. So I don't know. I just based off the studio version, like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's like they're all good though. Like I still love the song. Just my least favorite. Acts of My Life also, it does kind of drag on, but and again, it's a great like encore song. Addicts of My Life, I think it fits there well. Not as good as Broke Down Palace, but I think that's its place.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised at your uncle's memorial that Broke Down Palace was in the song you went with instead of Ripple. I mean, I was gonna say though, in terms of the like lyrics, which again, oftentimes lost on both songs have kind of this cool ambiguity in terms of what they're about, which also makes them really applicable. I mean,
and that's the beauty of Hunter Garcia lyrics in general. I love that. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, pretty much that, and it is kind of a cool thing lyrically because if you, I mean, write about whatever you want to write about, write for whoever you want to write for, but when you keep it kind of ambiguous, it can be applied to so many different things. It can reach so many different people. So it's like we named a dog after a song, whereas you sang it at a memorial.
Yeah,
I mean, and it really kind of applies to both. I feel like
it does. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, the Dead sort of lend themselves towards like anthem songs and how they're written.
Yeah.
Like to bring it back to the band, like songs like The Weight, they're just kind of like singing stories.
Yeah.
And the Grateful Dead sort of do the same thing very well.
Yeah. And they sing stories that, like Seamus said, it's like, you know, it's poetry. It's singing a story that is just so broad that you can connect to at any point in your life where it's applicable. And that's why I think this album is also so successful. And yeah, I mean, like I did say Truckin' is not necessarily my favorite, but like some of those lyrics, those are like some of the Dead's most legendary lyrics ever. Man, we can do all their albums. We should just make this a Dead podcast.
Oh, we sure should.
Dan's already halfway there.
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah, that was another. It's interesting that you say that because Truckin' is another one that's got like the kind of cliche, or it's made to be cliche and like the poster song. It's like the poster song. I guess Sugar Magnolia is more of like the cliche hippie lyrics. Truckin's kind of like the poster song for them. You see a lot of T-shirts and stuff with those lyrics on them. So if you had said that about Truckin', I would have also understood that.
Yeah, and I was between the two, and then I thought of the lyrics of both, and I thought of like sometimes all the lights are shining on me. Sometimes I can barely see, all that stuff. Lately it occurs like that whole verse is just so sick, and like sometimes it could be kind of corny, but like I couldn't say that was my least favorite. And some lyrics in Sugar Magnolia I don't like as much as those in Truckin'. That's kind of where it landed.
Especially live, you just get blasted in that by lights in that.
Oh yeah.
That verse.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say there are some cool things. I just saw that cover band Grateful Shred last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. I distinctly remember they did Sugar Magnolia as one of the last like 2 or 3 songs. They did some cool things with the lights in that.
Nice.
That's a live show of a cover band, and we're talking about lights, not the music. So I'm not really factoring that into this equation here, but there are some cool opportunities with it. But yeah, the album versions of some of these are definitely a lot different than the live versions too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you never hear Operator. Mallory and I were just talking about this when it was on. Like, man, you never hear it in any of their shows. It's it's a Pigpen song, and I guess no one else sang it because it was a Pigpen song. So
yeah.
Didn't he pass away shortly after, like a few years?
Yeah, too much of the hooch. Drank himself to death.
Tragic.
We've all been there before.
Yeah,
we
one
have?
drink away.
Yeah. Till the Morning Comes is a decent song too.
Yeah, it's another one you don't hear that often, but it's really fun.
Yeah, if somebody said that as MVP just for being underrated,
Yeah. Okay,
that'd be fair.
I like that also. Like underrated on the album is I think a good award we could add maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
category that we should definitely add.
Okay.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like the vocals on that one, vocal performance.
Yeah,
it
when they
comes.
say like what's like take yourself easy or whatever the exact words are, that part is really cool.
Yeah.
Make yourself, yeah, I don't know what it says. Yeah. So shall we rate it?
Shall we?
We
We
shall.
shall. We shall. All
Ooh,
right,
new
look
format.
at this.
Another like staple album for a band.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, true.
Yep, we've upgraded our tier list formatting. No more ads. It is now an Excel spreadsheet.
I like this.
Yep. Infusion of money over the weekend, and here we are.
We
All right.
outsourced, and this is what they sent us.
All right, Seamus, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll go A. Do you need more? I mean,
I second that motion, honestly.
cool. Got some steam for A, going once, going twice.
Inky?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. Allow my heavy bias to put it in. I'd say mid, or obviously it's only 2 albums on this sheet,
Mhm.
but if it were fully populated, I think I would go towards mid / bottom tier A, solely for being the dead and the legacy of the album. I think it really is one of the great American albums. But like we were talking
Yeah.
about last week, it's not one of those ones where every single song is a banger. And yeah, for that reason, I don't think it's actually like half-ish of the songs for me. So mid or
Mhm.
bottom tier A for me.
Yeah. agreed.
Yeah, I'm also torn. Like, I think it's an A, but I don't really listen to it ever. I used to, I guess I used to, and that's why I think it should be an A, like a mid to low tier A. But um, and just the importance of it. But yeah, I don't listen to it, and I think of like if I'm putting stuff up here that I listen to, like that's going to go to the A's and the S's and stuff. Um, but I know it's an important album, and I know that I did just listen to it, and it was pretty great. And I'll probably actually listen to it more now that I've re-listened. So I'd go with A
Nice.
as well.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tricky because like the same argument that you just made, I was kind of making in my head. Like, I don't really listen to it often. But the thing is, like, we also, I mean, the three of us at least, uh, Dan's still somewhere in the middle, I would say, but like we all listen to Live Dead over the studio stuff. So if I had to pick a studio album, or if I had to tell you the studio album that I listen to the most, I think this is 100% the studio album I listen to the most by them. Um, is the one with Shakedown Street on it called Shakedown Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one, and obviously Working
Yeah.
Man's Dead is also very good. But I would
Yeah,
probably
I brought that one over plenty of times.
yes, and I think Nigel has a copy of it too. So I have
He does.
one downstairs.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other like studio albums that they have.
Terrapin Station. That was a
Oh,
good one.
That's a
Yeah.
great one.
That's a great one.
That medley is so cool.
Yeah, that one I didn't listen to until you played it for me, Shane. Is that one of Nigel's too? Or
Believe
yours?
so. I believe
Okay.
so.
Have you guys ever listened to Gray Folded Transitive Axis? It's one of their like concept albums that came out in like the 90s, and it is like so it's just like noises essentially. It's
No.
so weird. Here, I'll
That sounds so
Hold
interesting.
up.
Though.
Gray folded. This one.
yeah.
Oh.
I've tried to listen to it a few times. It's
Oh,
kind of a hard listen to be
interesting.
honest, but
There it
it's
is.
crazy. Yeah, that's why I was there.
Was this right before Jerry died?
Yeah, I think so. So
Oh, yeah,
there's
94. Yeah.
yeah, there's Transitive Axis and Mirror Ashes. It's 2 separate albums that they released. It's crazy. Built to Last. That's a great studio album. That's their last. Well, I think that was the last album.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to sell it though, but I've got the that was going to be the next Ready or Not, with
Mm.
like Liberty and current all those like songs that they played in the 90s, and it's so
Yeah.
awesome. I would love to talk through that one.
Yeah.
Future
We're going on a
episode.
tangent now. Yeah. Go to Heaven. So fun.
Go to Heaven.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the Mars Hotel. I was listening to that the other day, actually.
Yeah, I still think that out of all of those, I'm probably still putting American Beauty.
I think so
First.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Especially
I
as far
hope
as
the
like
live. Oh, go ahead.
you got it. I had nothing to say.
But like as the live albums will probably appear, I'm sure that will become a factor in recalculating the list as you
Yeah.
begin to weigh live albums versus studio albums. We'll start to debate.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's still weird. Like if you told me to put it in B right now, I would be okay with that. But I don't know.
I think so
I'm
as
fine
well.
with it.
Ahead of Music from Big Pink.
Yeah, I
Good
think
time.
that's the main factor. I'd put it ahead of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But still B.
Maybe. We can always reorganize this at a later point. Again, it's going to get really challenging.
hmm
Yeah.
Probably pretty soon. Not pretty
I'm
soon.
fine
but
with that. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
fine with that. As long as we keep it open to reorganization, which I absolutely think we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. I just got the running out of time note. I think we're pretty much done. Wrapped up.
Sweet.
Yeah, unless
Yeah.
anyone's got anything else to add.
Just gonna
Nope.
listen to more Dead now, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go listen to Blues for Allah now. I was just looking at it. It's got like King
Nice.
Solomon's Marbles and stuff. Like that's good deep tracks. That's
Yeah.
next.